In the case of Ethan Couch, finding the strength to forgive might be especially difficult. News 8's Bradley Blackburn is with two faith leaders with insight on what it truly means to forgive. Bradley?
John, we are in a place that is built on forgiveness in the sanctuary of Wedgwood Baptist in Fort Worth. This is, of course, the place where 7 people were killed by a gunman in 1999. Pastor Al Meredith is with us, and so is Tim Williams. Tim knew one of the victims who was killed here at Wedgwood, and he also knew one of Ethan Couch's victims. His best friend, Brian Jennings, was killed in that Father's Day crash. We have asked them both here to speak to us about forgiveness. And Tim, let me begin with you. You took the extraordinary step of asking to meet Ethan Couch in his jail, even befriending him. What is it like today to see him walk free?
Well, it is tough to see him out right now, but I know that that was the decision the judges made. And so I've accepted that and do hope that he continues moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Pastor Meredith, Ethan Couch is free now, of course, but everywhere he goes, he will find people who know his story and judge him. What do you say to members of the public about forgiving someone they've never met?
Well, if you're a Christ follower, forgiveness is not a choice. It's a commandment. It's not a feeling. It's important to know what forgiveness is not. It's not excusing what he's done. It's not forgetting about the people who paid with their lives. But forgiveness is more important to the forgiver than the forgivee. If they choose not to, they're insisting on drinking the poison they may have intended for their worst enemy. For their own sakes, choose to forgive.
Tim, one of the things about Couch's case that sticks with people is his attitude throughout this whole ordeal, his apparent lack of remorse over 4 deaths. You have met him in person. How do you think he has reckoned with his actions? Do you think he's forgiven himself?
He has forgiven himself because that seemed to be one of the first steps to help him begin to own what he did, but also begin to receive forgiveness. So I've seen that in him.
Has that been a journey for him?
It's been a pretty long journey. It's been an uncomfortable journey for myself, and I believe for him also.
Let me ask you both, finally, why is it difficult for us to forgive, and why is it? How does forgiveness help the person who grants it?
Well, it's tough to forgive because we're born with an innate sense of justice. Yeah. How many times as a 3- and 4-year-old you said, but it's not fair. And of course, your mother said, whoever told you things were fair. But there's just that insistence of karma, or whatever you want to call it, cosmic sense of justice, that you get what you deserve. No such thing as a free lunch. And when you see someone that's done terrible things, you think, man, he deserves terrible punishment. In this case, it hasn't been terrible enough for most of the public.
Tim?
I agree with that. It's just not natural to just give forgiveness because we have felt so hurt. And so it's just something you have to really process through and make the decision that I'm going to forgive, it's right, and I've got to move forward.
And Tim, have you forgiven Ethan?
I have. It was difficult, and I worked through that before I met him.
All right. Well, Tim Williams, Pastor Al Meredith, thank you for your time and for your thoughts on forgiveness, on the power of forgiveness, something for us all to keep in our minds and hearts as we watch this news today. John?
All right. Thanks a lot, Bradley.